Now let me share with you a very, very, very hypothetical story. Okay? Understand this is hypothetical, but try to get through the hypotheticalness of it and get the gist of it. It helps me understand and to feel. Let's suppose I'm in your home one night and you have fixed T-bone steaks for me. By the way, you haven't done that yet. I'm just joking. And we're having a nice meal, and all of a sudden there's a rap at the door, and you go to the door, and it's the FBI and the SBI and the police, and they rush in the door, and they throw me into the floor, and they handcuff me, and you're standing there saying, what's going on? This is my minister. And the officer looks at you and says, yes, he may be your minister, but he's wanted in 3 states for murder and for grand larceny and various other crimes. So they take me away, and of course you're wondering what's going on, you're confused, and they take me down, and I go through the trial, and they arraign me and indict me and convict me, and I'm sentenced to death. Okay, to just follow with this hypothetical story. They sentence me to death, and of course in many states today, death, judicial death is by an electric chair. So let's think about that. So they sentenced me to die in the electric chair for the crimes I've committed. I mean, I've committed crimes. I must pay the penalty. Simple. Well, you go to the judge and you're wondering what you can do, and you go to him and you say, is there not anything I can do? Listen, this man has done so much good, blah, 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 blah. Is there not anything I can do? No. This man has committed crimes. He must pay the penalty. You turn to walk away, and the judge says, wait a minute, come back. Do you have any children? Yeah, I have a son, you say, 11, 12 years old. And the judge says, there is something you can do. I'll take your son in his place. Well, you go home, and this is where it gets real hypothetical. You wouldn't give your son for me, and I don't blame you. And you writhe, and you twist, and you turn, and you finally decide, all right, I'll give my son for royals. And the judge says, now understand something. You're going to have to be the one to shave his head. You're going to have to be the one to put that cap on him. You're going to have to be the one to strap him to the chair, and you're going to have to be the one to pull the switch. So the day comes and you take your son. Now get past the hypotheticalness and feel it. You take your son. He's 10 or 11 years old. He doesn't really understand what's going on. And you shave his head and you strap him into this ugly-looking chair and you put the cap on him and he's wondering what's going to happen. And you walk over to the switch, and just before you pull it, your son looks at you and says, Daddy, why are you doing this to me? Why have you abandoned me? Why have you forsaken me? And you put your hand over your eyes and you pull the switch. I go free. It's about 2 weeks later, I guess, and you're sitting in a restaurant and you're trying to eat, but of course you can, and you're just sort of stirring your food. And about that time, you see me walk into the restaurant, and I'm with a buddy. You see me, I do not see you. And I go over and sit down in a booth, and you can hear our conversation. And my friend says to me, well, Royals, I thought your goose was cooked. How in the world did you get out of that one? And you hear me say, well, I think the judge just finally looked at my record, and he looked at all the good I have done. Yeah, I've done some bad stuff, but he looked at all the good I have done and realized that I've done more good than I've done bad, and decided to let me go. It's all you can do to keep from jumping out of your seat and throwing your hands around my neck and saying, the only reason you're free is because my son is in the grave. Is that what God feels like when we think that we're going to be able to get to heaven because of what we do or how good we do or how little bad we do? When God knows all the time, then the only way we're going to make it is because there's a tomb over in Jerusalem. Oh, it's empty now. And we'll talk all about that when we get to it. But it was occupied for 3 days. And he literally pulled the switch on his own son. And his own son said, my God, why are you doing this to me?